All right, we're doing this. Make sure this is actually going. Okay, cool. We are set to go here. Adjust my camera a little bit. We're live with some more coding stuff. This time, not actually open source yet, but we're going to hopefully be open sourcing some of these elements in the future. So I have like a number of projects out there. Basically like that amount to like a whole suite of UI components and stuff like that. And we'd like to actually use those. So as part of anything, it's nice to use UI components for stuff. To have something readily accessible and ready to go. In my case, I've kind of eschewed using like your typical kind of library of components, whether it's Material UI, Chakra, or whatever. The reason being is that those tend to be a little on the heavy side. I'm kind of a minimalist by nature, so we're going to start doing this. And so what I'm doing right now is actually I'm working on my own website. And one of the things I've been wanting to do is just actually get a small kind of Linktree type landing page that I can use for social media and stuff like that. But not doing Linktree. This gives me like just full customization options. Basically, can do whatever I want. A little more time involved, which is okay, I think, in this case. So let me get into it here. Get the code editor up. I'm just going to drag this over here. Okay, so we have our little landing page here for contact stuff. On the right, code on the left. Let me just, there, we'll get to kind of an empty state here. So this is a Next.js based project, a kind of an older one, so it doesn't use the new app router, it uses the old page router. That's okay. Like beyond that, it's pretty much the same. And really we have at the moment just this contact card page. It has some buttons on it, I think, as you all can see. I get that text a little bigger. Section, we'll have like maybe different sections on this. One of the things I want to do is like add basically some YouTube links for these YouTube videos. Maybe a way to add to contacts. Sorry folks, I'm gonna hide my contact information. We might have a way to like maybe enter a password to kind of unlock some of that contact information or something like that. But we'll kind of get into that. But in general though, so we have some buttons, we have some stuff like that, and you can see here there are actually quite a number of UI components here already that I've built, and these are just in use on my website. So just real quick, let's go home, if it will go home. Lots of just little things, buttons, the wall of logos, these little cards, headers and stuff like that. I think if you go to the About page, there's kind of text sections and things like that too. Little text box, little avatar. So we're kind of, hopefully we're using this avatar, some things like that. The main difference, I think, is that the layout and things like that of a page like this are a bit different. So, and right now we have buttons that have text but actually don't really link to anything. And I'm not even sure, the buttons probably don't have any icon, or don't have any link capability. This button was actually more intended either just to display, is there a link? Ref, intersection ref? No, that's actually for something else entirely. We do have the ability to add icons, really just a spinner. This is for just adding kind of some interactivity for buttons that actually do something or trigger like events or things like that. But let me do this. I want to go home. I think, let me see what I did on the home page. I developed this site actually quite a few years ago at this point. So I don't remember exactly what I did in terms of the buttons here. Oh yeah, we have an action link, which I want to say the action link is just wrapping the button. Oh no, actually, so we have kind of two different components here. We have these buttons and we have the action links, but they're actually somewhat separate right now, which is less than ideal. Let's try and combine these together, but before we do that, here's kind of the plan of action. We're going to actually kind of fix up this UI so that really everything gets centered. These get below, we bump these below the actual menu up top right now, and then kind of go from there. Get these, maybe get some SVG type buttons rather than just like buttons like this, and what have you. All right, so let us get into it. So we're over at the contact card. We're using an actual layout, and again, this is an older version of Next.js, which didn't really have layout support, so you're kind of just loading in the actual layout in kind of a basic way. We have a shared HTML head. That's just to make everything so that we don't need to repeat header components. So let's start doing this. Okay, HTML head. And I'm trying to remember. So one thing, oh yeah, the main thing we have here is actually the title. So let's do that quick. Just add a title to this page. So really quickly, we're over in contact card, title, contact. Let's see how else is actually do contact card. Easy. That's done. And boom, we do actually have a title, so the title is appearing on that tab. I'm trying to think what I actually did here for the rest of these. So just code incarnate. I think I just had put like code incarnate technologies. Okay, we're using a pipe here, so let's just for the sake of kind of okay, kind of just for the sake of keeping things mostly the same. There we go. Kind of changing the order here. Let's just tell you what. Let's do this. Rather than contact card, let's just do code incarnate technologies, then my name. Kind of on the fence about this. I think you could make arguments a number of ways for how this should be. But okay, let's get into this this layout. So we don't want to use the default layout. And the default layout is just a div with the navigation. You have header, children, footer. Children being the elements within. So essentially we have the ability to do a header and a footer with then just like some content within there. Let's see how this actually looks on the home page. So going back home quick. And I think you all will see this is like rather simple. So we have the default layout. This is just for some fun with like the logo and the nav. That can be another thing. We can get into that another time. The header. So we're basically passing in a React component for the header. That's this header area up here. And then we're just going to footer. We're going to go down to the footer, which is just down here, which is just this. And then within the default layout tag, we have our main content enclosed. This is a pretty easy way to like switch out components. We technically could have, you know, the header within here, the footer within here. This way I think it's just a little bit more organized. So let's go and kind of like, I'm not sure about this default layout because it really doesn't do a whole lot. And you'll see within where that layout we're kind of using these sections. And the sections, I want to say we're kind of just setting max width on these sections. Let me see here. Right there. Yeah, so we're setting a max width of 900 pixels. This actually might be okay. We might just use this default layout just for the sake of keeping things easy. So let's start messing with this a little bit. I actually have an empty section here. I don't remember exactly why I dropped it there, but we can do this. All right, section. Boop. Okay, so at least now we're kind of hitting that max width. Not too bad. Okay, I kind of wish I wasn't doing it. Let's drag from this way. So that's okay. This stuff we still probably want to center up. I don't believe this section has the ability to center things. So let's break this into, I'd say, 2 sections actually. So we're going to do one section here. And then let's move the avatar header into this one. And so it does break those 2 areas up because we have a bottom margin on that section. But we're looking good so far. Okay. Now from there, let's get these items centered. I want to say the buttons are being centered just because of the button CSS. But let's see if we can actually add the ability of this section to do this. Ooh, code written 4 years ago, with a very informative message of various changes. So let's see. Background styles. So we're getting a bunch of classes here because we have the ability to add titles. There's title styles. Fun times. And again, I'm just gonna open up the home page so we can reference some of the things that I'm doing with this. So we have a section here. We have the capability to add a title here. I'm pretty sure this is a title. Let me see. Always fun to revisit. Let's do the link section. Code that you wrote a long time ago. Yeah. So there we go. We have the title right there. This is okay. I mean, I think we can leave that for now. But let's do this. So first, we want to have the kind of the centering capability. I don't remember what this background is going to be for. I might just remove that entirely while we're here. Background classes, styles. So we're using just like a ton of different classes here. Oh yeah, so we also have the capability here of having different types of containers. This diagonal one I think would be confusing to most folks. What it is that this part I believe is a section as well. So what we're gonna, just to show that off quick, go down to the contact card, type diagonal. Did I get that right? think I did. Oh. Oops. The joy of not using TypeScript here. I feel like this is pretty common for a lot of code bases, is that you really won't see them documented too much. I feel like that should be working, actually. I'm kind of surprised it's not. But maybe I ended up doing something else. So no, it does work here. Oh yeah, I did add the ability so we can apply styles to the title, which there is used to center everything up. It's a bit of an awkward way to pass that in. But let's see what's going on. I'm kind of curious what's going on there with the diagonal. That should just kind of work. Really, we're just applying these conditionally. Type flex. Let's see what flex does. Flex will apply the styles.content. This also might have been abandoned too. I think the BG URL stuff was abandoned. Not even sure. Like, I'm curious here. What I did. So let's start doing this. Always fun to go through old code and just see what you actually did. Oftentimes, just kind of get some ridiculous stuff, but always a good opportunity to do a little cleaning up. So images covers clients. Interesting. So I was just referencing another file that's used on another page. Lord knows why I did this. URL. I think I just wanted the ability to like apply like a repeating background or something to a section, which is why this is here. I'm just gonna, for now, we can just get rid of this BG URL. BG styles is practically speaking doing nothing at this point, so let's remove that too. Oh, my editor decided to redo everything. Styles.flex. So I'm just looking. We're using CSS modules here. So we need a class name in here that would be flex. Oh, okay, so it is being used. That's okay. Very awkwardly, this is like just dropped in the middle of all the diagonal stuff. Class names is a package that will combine various class names together. So basically, we're doing a bunch of stuff to the content, the backgrounds, and everything else if we have this diagonal. The diagonal part is just, again, just this. So essentially getting this kind of pink background and stuff. I'm not sure I'm actually using this anywhere else, which is maybe kind of silly given all this, but let's do this. Okay. Again, never a bad time to really go through and actually document stuff. let's do like inline comments are probably better here. Apply box. Styling is desired. Okay. For diagonal backgrounds. This is something that we'd probably want to refactor or kind of get rid of for kind of a more general kind of case. Also, just the kind of just this general thing. The reason I think why these aren't combined is that using this style, it avoids like having to declare these over again, and so that way there's only like one declaration, even though it does add technically like just this logic 3 times. It's a little bit awkward, but it's really, I wouldn't call it the end of the world though. So, okay. We're getting somewhere. Kind of maybe slower than we'd like. But let's do this then. So we have kind of this diagonal background styling. We have the ability to kind of get a flexbox style styling. So I think we can just do for now. Flexbox is like really really useful. There's many ways to style flexbox, so that kind of does the trick for us. I want to see, like, did I actually add the ability to like kind of inject like custom styles here? I don't think so. So really, you're just kind of getting some predefined styles for all these. Yeah, I mean it's okay. Do we want to? So usually, rather than saying like, oh hey, let's kind of give these like all predefined things for the styling we want to do. I've kind of tended to prefer just doing like styling or being able to pass like essentially a style object in. It's a little bit more flexible, although it can be like a foot gun because you can just kind of blow things up too. So we can do this though. Let's do content styles. Content. I don't know that content. There we go. These prop names and just class names are a bit tortured, but me of 4 years ago apparently wasn't thinking through them too much. So going back to our contact card, content styles. There we go, and we just do style object, text align, center. There we go, centered. Now bumping over to this avatar header. So I just dropped this in a div. Let's make life a little easier. There we go. H2. Probably want to use another header for this. I don't know if I actually did a global styling. Oh, I did do a global styling for the H3, although I think that's about right. So we don't really want that to be like underlined. Avatar. For some reason, the avatar isn't displaying. Oh, because it really is just the image with styling. It doesn't like it can use the avatar generally. So what I'm gonna do. This actually, I'm not sure I'd call this an avatar otherwise, but it's okay. I'm using the avatar over here. These I thought I was. This intro sign. Oh yeah, I have the intro for the speech bubble. All right. Just copy this portion. Cool. There we go. Making some progress. I feel like this looks okay. I almost wonder. And all missing imports. For some reason that didn't work. Let's go over here. So, do I want the speech bubble here? It kind of makes more sense, I think, in the context of the about page on my site. So let's just do away with the intro. We don't need a speech bubble in this case. Maybe I'll change my mind and add it back in at some point. We'll see. All right, so this is going okay. Another thing I think we're going to want to do here, we have content styles, so this is the actual like outer section. Let's add a margin on top. Not nearly enough margin there. Still really not enough margin for the nav. There. Okay. Easy enough. I think we're looking pretty decent now. It's a decent desktop look. At least decent enough. The spacing I'm not in love with, but life can go on. And then we'll kind of keep moving from there. Now, I do want to check out just how this would look on mobile. Yeah, pretty good. Though, oh, that top margin is messing with the mobile menu. That's not fun. So this is kind of maybe one of the interesting things when you do like kind of new styling stuff. You can also mess up like styles that were there. So let's kind of like work around that. But first, I'm going to go ahead and commit what I have. So let's break this out a bit. Avatar header. Zed's a little bit weird with this. So we'll clean up avatar header. I'm really, generally speaking, I'm not too afraid to just split things into multiple commits. It tends to be a little bit cleaner. And for those who are interested, I already have a branch for this. So if you went to my website, it's not deployed. And I'll get into that in just a second. These are changes I was making otherwise. Okay. Clean up section, component, and add style injection capabilities. Okay. And then clean up contact card. Okay. And we can push those 3. So I generally suggest it's, in my opinion, it's pretty fine to commit and push stuff that's somewhat broken, as long as it doesn't get deployed somewhere. Like right now we have essentially on the mobile menu kind of a broken display. That's life. And we can fix that, and we're gonna go fix it now. It's generally, I think, just to get in a good habit of really just kind of even having any forward progress. In my experience, people tend to be kind of perfectionists around these things, whereas the beauty of software development is that we can really just keep iterating over what we have. Oftentimes we'll do these things and decide we don't like them and throw them out. So just getting in that mindset of being experimental with all of this stuff. I think it's a good approach to software development. It's actually not a bad approach to life either. The more we experiment, generally the more we end up learning about what we're doing. So is this the right answer? Maybe, maybe not. We find out by just trying things out. Okay, but we have something here now. I want to see what's going on with this mobile nav, because this is just, I don't understand. I felt like this was so the position is fixed. Or is it? So this is the button. The button position is fixed, so that's working. But maybe not. And maybe that's why. So here we have just a little code to change like the menu language, and we're just using use state from React to track whether the menu is open or not. This isn't like a full-fledged app, so we don't really need a very in-depth state management solution of any kind. That's something we'll get into state management in a future video. I've seen folks go and essentially roll their own state management systems, which in my opinion is kind of crazy. Not a big fan of Redux either, but now I'm just kind of going down a rabbit hole. Let's stay focused here. So let's see what's going on here. I think it's just really this nav. That's really all that needs to happen here. Is just setting a position fixed. I don't think this should have, the one downside is if it is fixed, essentially, where if this nav goes beyond the the actual viewport. It's not going to be scrollable, which isn't great. I don't think though that we need to worry about that too much. Well, what's going on here? Huh. Oh God, I hit the wrong element there. That would be why. Thought I had fixed it with fixed, but maybe not. Oh, good Lord. With fixed, we often need a Z index, 10. Still getting that bump down, which is, I don't quite understand why. So the nav, even though we're like sitting above here, for some reason, that's bumping it down. I think we're okay now. So you do run into these weird. Okay, we're good now. These weird kind of styling quirks with things at times. I think CSS is just incredibly powerful. Essentially, it's a very sophisticated layout engine, but it also has just a crazy history. And generally speaking, on the web platform, there is a very strong desire to maintain backwards compatibility. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just taking these styles I just did, copy these, over that, there we go. Go back into the mobile nav, class name, again this is just using CSS modules. We also are using Sass, so we can do nesting and stuff like that. That makes life a little easier. Kind of tend to prefer CSS modules, and actually you can do themes and stuff with CSS modules, so we'll probably move forward with that too. The reason being is if you look at a lot of the CSS and JS systems, they're quite slow, and tend to have like really can have some very bizarre behaviors, along with just like writing CSS is often just way easier than trying to write CSS within JS. A lot of editors and a lot of libraries will have a lot of funkiness when it comes to doing that. So this is easier. Okay. Problem solved. Man, these margins are kind of crazy. And this is, again, why I tend to prefer like a style injection type thing. It's like, do we want to add with this section also a capability to like, a variant which is, removes these margins and stuff? Maybe. I feel like oftentimes with components, you do want to reuse them, but there'll be like these little corner cases effectively where you want to change things in like one situation or this situation or the next situation. This is actually looking decent. We're kind of above the fold here, and so I might change this a little bit so that margin's kind of throwing things off. I do think this is good to have in these cases where the CSS gets a little wonky. It's good to have things be explicit so that when you do run into these issues, so even I think we're going to go ahead and change this a little bit, but so when you do run into these issues, it's not quite as big of a deal. We'll see though, because what I'm considering is just doing making this first section the height of the viewport. The downside of this would be though, is that when we're on desktop, that then it would bump all of this like way down. So maybe not. I think this is fine actually. So let's commit that. Fix mobile nav positioning. Okay. So now kind of the big portion. What do we want to do for LinkedIn, Instagram? I don't know if I want to put my Facebook on here. I don't have a very interesting Facebook anyhow. YouTube for sure. But let's kind of play with this. I mean, I think one thing I really would like to do, so the action link and the button are different here. And the reason being is that a button element in HTML can like actually trigger form actions. You can also link them. Just, you know, I kind of try and tend to not have like stuff completely like interwoven with each other. You know, this is okay. We also have a little spinner for submissions. This isn't necessary at all for links. It's really just for form submission type stuff. So let's see about that. Oh man, and I didn't see John come in. Well, thanks, John, for dropping in and sharing the love. Always appreciate it. We're slowly building up with these streams. It's been a while. It's on vacation, so. But I think this is actually looking not too shabby at the moment. You know, part of the reason I'm doing this is I just want to be able to have something that people can see, like, or can go to like in person. So when I meet them in person, I can be like, hey, add my contact. You know, there are ways to do this. You know, if we both have iPhones and stuff, but a lot of people don't have iPhones. So again, I'm not going to be handing out my contact information on this, but we can get there. But let's look into that. Because I'm actually so here's kind of my sketch out here, and let's just drop a comment over in the contact card page. Comments are great, folks. I kind of did myself dirty by not editing this. Oh, this is great. We do have some AI code completion going on here. So fine to use. Things to explore. Damn, AI really, actually AI really helping out this time. Add feature allow users to view the user's profile on the website. This is using the Zeta model, by the way, which is effectively the kind of a change on the Quen coder model. So it's actually doing pretty well. Section for user details. Implement feature like send messages directly from the card. That one would actually be an interesting one. I don't know how much it would actually get used ever. I feel like these days people really for better or worse, really have a tendency to stick towards platforms that they're already aware of. So, it's just kind of one of those things. Another possibility for these is QR codes. I bet QR codes are okay. No, let's not worry about the QR codes. What I'd say for this is like just having a card like with a QR code on it, and actually really the QR code can essentially link to this page, but I'll get into this. The reason I'm doing it this way is that I have these actual wallet-sized NFC cards, and with NFC cards you can just do a link. Most phones these days have the ability to read NFC chips, so it's just a very straightforward way to link information. And again, thanks John for dropping in. Always appreciated. So, okay. Let's website embedded contact card. I am pretty sure that this is just a file. It is a really ugly file. Good God. This was, when was this made originally? RFC 6350. Let us see. Is that the first version? Was 2011? That obsoletes directory information in 98, 2007, 2739. So at least from back in 2000. That's actually just bopping us over to another website. Nice. These are actually kind of newer than I would expect that they'd be. Why J-Card? I wonder if J-Card might be a better option here. It's really just a matter of what can be read by phones. So yeah, J-Card's been around for a while. It's like a little better. It's not great. Just to test this out, vCard QR code generator. I don't really want a vCard QR code generator. So I don't want to handwrite this file, so I'm just going to generate it. Oh, not my middle name. Not going to be giving away my email, sorry folks, or my phone numbers, but or my address for that matter. But just for the sake of this, wow, we'll just kind of just go through these. Title. Let's see, Chief Shenanigans Officer. We're being a little bit silly here. I don't mind actually dropping in my LinkedIn and my Instagram, so let's do that quick. Profile? Well, not /n, here we go. There we go. No Twitter these days, that's fine. God, really cutting. Damn. Get my YouTube in here too. Your channel. Okay. Nice. This is actually not a terrible format. It's like fairly readable. So no, it's decent. I think this is just, yeah, this is just gonna produce this. So I think what I'm gonna do here is just copy this and personal URL. I wonder what this does actually. Actually putting in the generation time there, so organization layout, let's put in code incarnate actually. Just for the sake of like keeping this, it's kind of a personal site, but not really. So you can, yeah, it's a decent one. I think this this format was mostly designed just to be like rather compact. So. Probably going to have something here to kind of change this up. Again, there are some useful things there when giving things out. You know, when you meet people, you don't necessarily want to give them everything, kind of depending on who you're talking to. Granted, I don't know, like these days it feels like phone numbers are pretty recyclable and everything, but I'd prefer not to be like, I'm not going to be at least giving it out, so I'm not giving it to spammers on the internet. Let's just drop this in here. Kyle command.vcf. Okay. Easy enough. Oh, and there's the vacuum. 1 second, folks. That means it was 2 in the afternoon here. The joy and the chaos of live streaming. So the thing we need here is actually an action link. We are going to probably combine these together. And we actually are probably going to need to change this. A little bit. So we're wrapping a next using a link component here. This is not going to work, I think, for just this. But we can see though. Oh man, it's wanting to generate action links for everything with buttons and all kinds of stuff. The AI does not at this point quite know what it is doing with this. It's trying, but it's just not quite there. Add the context to that context. That's probably better. Slash. Failed to load script. Yeah, it's not a script, although I think they actually downloaded the content code, maybe? Hey, it did. That's cool. So that's not bad. I really wonder what the image would do here. It is nice to get an embedded contact image too. I suspect this might just be base 64 encoding stuff or something like that. So we're getting into the weeds of the contact card file format here. All right. Projects. Yes, we are in projects. Bumping around. this is Code HQ. As you can see, I got 1.5 million projects. And public images. There we go. So yeah, it's not. Is actually embedding the JPEG data in there. So again, that's really, and if we open this up, I'm 90. Yeah, this just looks like a. I don't know for certain, but it very much looks like a base 64 encoded JPEG. I mean, that's fine. So we're making some progress here. I'm gonna go ahead and just replace that quick. So kind of some more work to do with the link. Oh. But we're getting somewhere. So let's copy this. I want to open up public. The public directory is the Next.js thing. It's where you drop static files. So I'm going to find, not find in folder, good lord. Reveal in Finder, there we go. Can pretend to spell. So I'm trying to remember exactly what I did here. Oh yeah. So kind of the idea here is when you construct a URL object in JavaScript, what's going to happen is that if you just give it like a relative URL of some kind, instead it is just going to end up throwing an exception. So we can use this behavior to, it's helpful with Next.js because it gives this ability for us to kind of have, create like a link that will link like outside if it is absolute, but then we'll do the link component from Next.js if that's not the case. This is useful. So the Next.js link component does stuff like prefetching and preloading to make things fast, which is really, super useful when you're navigating around a website. It dramatically increases the perception of performance because it is faster. Because essentially, like, stuff is loading in the background, so it's just giving you that capability of background loading. Kind of, this might be. I might have been a little too clever for my own good here, because now we're running into a case where we want the relative link, because we're referencing now static content in a link. Basically, I wasn't before. The only static content I was referencing before, I think, as you can see, was always an image. So there was never any need to reference like a file other than an image, but now there is. There are some ways around this. Potentially we could like statically, or we could just drop this in JavaScript and generate it that way and stuff. But that's that seems to be like getting a little ahead of ourselves. What I would say here is that, man, kind of dug myself into not a huge hole, but a little bit of one. I want to say, let me see here. I want to see like how much I'm actually using the action link. Okay, so not a whole lot actually. This action group, I'm pretty sure I'm only using in one spot. Okay, 2 spots. And I'm gonna just go ahead and say that I think that in both these cases, I am linking within the site, which yeah, I am. So for that, so rather I think then kind of just remove this cleverness for now. So let's go ahead and remove the cleverness. So rather than like having that, we'll just add another prop, bare link. Oops. Actually document these props too. So we're using bare link because if we're gonna just do like a link without the Next.js link component in there. Yeah, that catch is no longer necessary. We can just actually just change this to else. Find folder. Oh yeah, the Wi-Fi stuff. That added. Yeah, we'll come back and do that. So we really have only 2 places where we're actually having a bare like non-Next.js link. This is a little awkward, but again, it doesn't seem like the biggest deal. And yeah, sure enough, that does the trick, so we're not having any Next.js weirdness. Cancel. So just checking this out. I don't know if this actually works. I don't really want to open up all my contacts here. Okay, but generally speaking, this is not bad. I'm probably going to change like some of these fields to actually be serious. They're just kind of example ones right now. But okay, cool. So this is progress. I think what I'm going to do now is just kind of leave it at that for today. We've been at it for like a little while, so let's do this. Update action link and add contact card. So what I'm doing, again, kind of updating my own website here, adding a little contact card page. We got this part styled up, fixed some bugs with the mobile navigation. We got a contact card link added, and we're going to go through and kind of get some of these other things here soon. I might end up streaming that. I might not. Just kind of, up to how I'm feeling on it. We'll see. But again, I'm just stressing kind of the iterative nature of this. I think the next phase for this is making sure that this action link and the button are actually just one and the same component. Having them separate, even just from a styling perspective, is kind of a pain. Probably just want them to be the same at this point. Probably going to update the styling too. I've slowly been doing that in various places, moving in certain areas to a bit more rounded, kind of adding some of these drop shadows and other things as well. Just kind of cleaning up the design language from what I'd had previously. So we're going to keep forward with that. But for now, that's it. Have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in the next one.